what are some of the latest trends you're seeing in, say, solar or renewable energy? Like what are you focusing on, or what would you say is important in that space right now?
I think one of the things that's really important is we've been innovating a lot, the way that we do business. And one of the things is like developing a lot, developing the technology behind the sales process, and also connecting and partnering up with people that do similar things that we're doing, because we're trying to get to a whole different level. Like we have a $1 trillion industry that we're competing against, and we need more even of us, right? Like I also need an extension of some of the things that I'm doing, so we could really capitalize in a good percentage of what the industry is all about. So that's one of the things that we've been working pretty hard, like connecting and figuring out a way how we could work together with more companies that do some of the things that we're doing as well, and just work as a team and just really capitalize on the whole industry. And that also includes innovating with the products that we're giving, providing more education to our customers, and
Partnerships.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And you are partnered with Tesla. Is that through a company or is that directly with Tesla?
We have a contract with Tesla, so we could offer their battery systems, which is pretty cool. We got a full certification on that, so we could install those batteries to homeowners that are interested in backup power.
Yeah, I looked into that. I actually put a bid on it on a project I have going on, and then they came out with the Tesla roof and so forth. I haven't gotten there yet, but I have a buddy that installed the Tesla backup batteries, and he sells his energy back to the local companies and so forth, and with solar. So it's pretty neat. And I in California, there's a lot of solar incentive right now. Is there a lot of solar incentive nationwide for people to upgrade their homes?
Nationwide, there is a 30% tax credit if you're doing solar, and then you could even actually include any energy efficiency. So that's AC unit, roofing. You could actually finance it with even the solar program, and then you add everything up, and whatever 30% of that is, you get it as a tax credit. So
That's really good. I mean, that's incredible. And the state may offer an additional credit, right? In some cases, I would imagine.
yeah, so there's some states that have $1,000 credit as well, and there are even some states and utilities that give a actual check for going solar, 6,000, 3,000, depending on the system size, which is pretty cool.
That is very cool. That's definitely making me want to upgrade. so so hey, if you could save some money on taxes and get some new technology, why not do it? It almost sells itself. And a lot of people also, there's a lot of old roofs out there. So I would imagine that people are, instead of say replacing their roof, are maybe potentially converting, doing that at the same time as they are doing solar on a roof. Would that be accurate to say?
There's a lot of the roofs that we encounter, like they need some improvement, so they're gonna do it anyway. So they take advantage of doing it right there and there, so they could get that tax credit and combine it and take full advantage of the savings. And then the cool thing also, we offer like really good low interest rates. Like we're pretty much one of the best in the markets. As far as the interest rates, we're not as high like as 7. We're like in the lows 4.
Oh, nice. That's really good rate compared to what's out there.
Yeah, it's really neat, and we're grateful enough to still have those rates at the moment. So it attracts a lot of the clients. And if anybody that's listening, and they come through us because of what you guys are doing, we can arrange a good deal for them as well. So
Oh, that's very kind. And we'll put your links in, obviously, below. You'll get a copy. You could share this stuff and see how, if we could create a solar buzz going and so forth. Or renewable energy buzz, I would say that would be dope. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about managing people and motivating people. Right, you're the CEO. You're the Tony Soprano, let's say, of your team. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but I've been watching The Sopranos. So you're the top dog. You are sitting in a position where each decision you make has a very big effect on the journey or the trajectory of that decision. That's pretty stressful, one. But how do you also manage your team to make sure that they make good decisions and they stay motivated?
Great question. Absolutely everything that, decision that we make, as far as the executive team, I'm grateful to have also a good executive team that backs me up. But one of the ways that, I try to keep it, fun, and keep everybody on their toes and learning and making sure that we're doing the best that we can. We try to build a good culture around it, right? Where we make it a goal to really be the best that we can at what we're doing. And we have activities, we have incentives, we have bonuses and things like that, right? There's a lot of many ways that we do it. But I think ultimately the recipe of Renewable Power USA, that everybody knows and feels like they're part of the family, and I think that's huge because, I tell the guys too, you might not see me every day, whoever is it that works with us in different departments, but that, I'm working for you guys as well, and that's my job. Like I'm always constantly working on bringing you value, sustainability, as far as, you being part of this company and making sure that this company is here to stay for many years. And they know that, they 100% know that. And I try to also keep them up to date and make sure that even the people that help me manage, other people, I want to make sure that they're taking care of those people the same way that I do, from the executive team down.
Getting back to the Sopranos, just like Tony Soprano, you make sure everybody eats, feels safe, and is comfortable. Of course, it's a different industry, but that summed it up. I think, guys, what I get from Jimmy with that is, hey, take care of your team. They're going to take care of you. Be honest with them. Be transparent. Make sure there's no shady stuff, and really and really just try to make them feel like family, because ultimately you're building this baby, which you have a lot of competition, but you want to be the top of that competitive ladder. And you can't do that if your team is not motivated, if they're not hungry, if they're not properly utilized. I think that's another, or they don't work well together. So Jimmy, in his team of 80 or so at its peak, has to put the right pieces together. He has to make sure the people work together well and so forth. And I haven't had that many employees at one point, but I've had quite a few. And I do agree with you. You got to build security. I think security is such a big thing nowadays, especially where we live in the Bay Area. People hop jobs every year, year and a half. Do you get that at all where you're at, Jimmy?
Of course, we do have, people bouncing, and some of the people, they see it, they think sometimes the grass is greener, in another side, or
Yeah.
it's easier, if you go over here or you go there. But at the end of the day, we also really straight, forward too. Is like there's gonna be hard times.
Yeah.
There's gonna be some, you're gonna have, and normally it's like you have your peak, like you probably, encounter probably one of the best jobs you have ever have, and even in income wise, especially the sales guys, income wise, is probably gonna be the best income you have ever made in your life. But they're also, maybe there's gonna be a year or a year and a half. You're gonna have some tough times. You might,
Yeah.
be burning out a little bit. People are gonna try to poke you. They're
Yeah.
gonna try to bring you on board and tell you that this is gonna happen. It's better over here because of this and this and that. We go through those challenges, but I try to, let them know, and have our trainers to let them know, like, hey, you might come across this, and if that happens, just think about it, before you do it, because you already built some relationship here with us. We appreciate your business, and in order for you to start again, you're just gonna pretty much reset, and it's tough to rebuild those relationships. Sometimes a lot of people don't get to rebuild them again, and they just reset and reset and reset, and they become old, and they're like, wow.
Yeah, and then they're out of a job and they're complaining because they think something is wrong with everybody else versus looking at themselves in the mirror and going, "Hey, what did I do to get to this level?" Right? That's always the challenge. I feel like the people that leave and hop around are always going to do that. That's what they do. It's kind of an unsettlement in some way to put it. Let's talk a little bit about partnerships. I feel like partnerships in business are maybe some of the most important things that you could do to scale. Obviously, not only to offer the best possible product for install, in your case, maybe offer your own product in the future and distribute it, whatever that may be. But how important are partnerships, and how important is it that you maintain that relationship, or what do you do to make sure that relationship is solid in a continuing way to continue business?
I think one of the best way to keep the relationship is you adding value to whatever is it that they're doing, right? A lot of the times I have sat down with their partners and see and ask them like, how can I add value? And not take things personal, right? Because a lot of the times it's not usually the only partnership that big players have that understanding, and just ask and say, how can I add value to you? And I think the best partnerships are where there's a good relationship, where you genuinely like this person, right? And then one of the most important things is business, right? So it's like you have to be bringing in business, you have to be adding that value. And if you're not adding that value, then you got to understand like, hey, you're maybe not getting the attention because you're not adding the value. And if maybe you need help, then just go out and seek the help, and maybe let your partner know, hey man, like I'm going through this, I want to continue to add value, but do you have some insight on how I could grow, or how I could give you that value that you need? And a lot of the times they're open and they're like, hey, let's do this and this and this. And then I think that goes a long way, other than being always just really greedy and say, oh well, I want this out of you, and I want this, and I want this. And a lot of the
Yeah.
times people don't look at what value they're bringing, before they go out and they ask and they demand and they do this and this and that, right? And I think being humble and saying, okay, maybe I'm not getting that because I need to do this, you know, I think that definitely makes a big difference.
That's great. I learned a little bit of something as well. Typically, when a lot of people come into a partnership, in my experience, they'll try to sell themselves as the king. They're gonna sell more panels than the next guy, and they're gonna act. They're gonna act, and they sold themselves as something that they are not, potentially, right? Or try to get that contract. And oftentimes, when they're not meeting that quota, I find it that they're a little bit scared to approach the dealer or the partner or the distributor and say, "Hey, how can I do better? What can I do more, etc." They're just worried because maybe they're either going to lose that potential contract, or they don't know how to approach the distributor. I think one thing you pointed out is, guys, if you're going to partner with somebody, be ready to hear them out, to have them guide you. And that kind of goes back to what Jimmy was saying earlier, is like, don't try to do it all yourself or figure it out yourself. Let the specialist, again, give you the insight, and then up that insight to where you need to be, or to get to the level that you wish to be at and they feel comfortable. Jimmy also mentioned something really good. And Jimmy, I sold for 15 plus years now welding machines from China. We would import our own, brand our own. We would sell them to Home Depot and Lowe's and so forth, and compete with two big companies, Miller Electric and Lincoln Electric, which are public welding manufacturers. Now they're on a different scale. We're a small P, but uh, when I would have a distributor and the distributor would have other customers, when I was younger, I would take it personally if another person entered the market. You know what I mean? And they would take my region, or they would come out with a cheaper price. Now I'm competing with price. But what Jimmy said is very essential, guys. If you get a competitor, or if you get another person coming at you from that same channel of distribution, don't take it personal. It's business. They are providing numbers. You are better off going back in and saying, "Hey, how could I be the top one, or what can I do to sell more? What do you recommend, etc." Very good points, Jimmy. Thank you for sharing that.
It's really, really huge is that, it's sometimes you're going to take hits. Sometimes you're going to, it's hard for people to stay humble and like stay right and say, okay, I'm not there yet, but I will, and I'm gonna continue to work hard until I get to where I want to get to. And I think that's where a lot of we struggle. Even, I think everybody struggles, right? To say like, hey, take it easy. You will get there. Just work on what you have to work on, and eventually you're gonna get to where you want to get to. But yeah, man, I love that. I love how you the way that you were talking about it, and that's, I guess that's in every business. I guess.